Hello Ram fam, we're back again with another edition of Inside Cleveland Rams Football with head coach Scott Riley. My name is Jeff Garner, voice of the Rams. I'm joined by Scott Riley, head coach of the Rams. Great to have you again, coach. Appreciate it.
Yes, thanks for having me.
Let's jump right in, coach. One word regarding this past Friday night's game that comes to my mind is wow. I mean, what can you say? The Rams go on the road into the confines of historic Trojan Stadium, one of the toughest places in the state to play, and you not just win, you dominate. I mean, that's just the only word there is to say. You dominate in almost every sense of the words, defeating Garner 43-6. Tell me about it.
Obviously, good performance, and happy with the defense and the offense. I think we put it all together, cleaned up some of the mistakes that we had the first week, and really played a great game. Obviously, there's still a lot to improve upon. But early in the season, you got to be happy with the results at this point.
To be honest, coach, going in, I mean, I was one that felt very strong about that the Rams could and would play well. I mean, I really felt that. We always seem to play well against this team. We'll certainly talk about that a little bit more here in just a minute. But you put it all together, and going in, and I was confident that we'd be in a great position to win, but I didn't, and I don't think anyone saw 43-6 coming. I mean, I hate to use the word surprised. I mean, I don't think there's anyone around here that was surprised of the victory, but just that score was it jumps out at you.
Yeah, and I think the score can be a little misleading. I mean, it was 16-6 after that first drive in the third quarter, and during the meat of the game, it's 23-6, and then we went on that burst. I think like with a minute and a half, we scored 3 touchdowns. So, that can happen sometimes when games kind of get blown open and gets away from you. It's happened to us as well.
It definitely has.
I don't think you need to look at that score and say that means Garner's not as good as they usually are.
No.
I think they're much better than they were a year before.
Yep.
They're 1-1 instead of 0-2 at this point last year, and still made the Eastern Final. So I think they're in a good position. And it just kind of got to get that happens sometimes.
Old momentum kind of gets on your way, and
you can't win the game at that point, and it's hard to keep the same effort. And obviously it's a big game for our kids, so the adrenaline's pouring on, so it can get lopsided there at the end of the game. But obviously we controlled the game, no matter what the score was, and happy with the performance on the field.
I got a little stat I want to throw at you, Coach. Starting with the 2004 season, that's the first season that Max Preps actually has records for teams or whatever. And I look back, and since 2004, there's only 3 teams that have a 500 record against Garner that's played at least 2 games against them, and that includes the playoff games. And you think you can name those 3?
I don't know.
Well, one. You know one. That's Cleveland, 3-3.
Yes, we're
Cleveland's 3-3. The other 2 schools, Wake Forest, they're 0-4 against Wake Forest. Yeah, like I'm saying, Wake Forest that's a pretty decent team. So 0-4 against Wake Forest. The only other team, Jack Britt, they're 3-3 against them. So I right there, I won't say we've got Garner's number. It's not that. I'm not saying that at all. But we do seem to play well against those guys. We get up. I mean, again, 3-3. It's 500, but still a storied program like Garner, we always seem to play well against those guys.
And that's something we spoke about to the players this week coming in, that they consider this a rivalry game, and I don't know if Garner does.
Yeah.
I said because they're the storied program, they had the long tradition, and we're building our tradition still. It is our 9th year, but we're still building that tradition. And I said, we win this week, we're 3-3, and they got to consider us a rival. I think they do at this point, and I'm sure that's how we'll go at it going forward. That they're like it or not, Garner is a measuring stick for programs, particularly in this area.
They certainly are.
So 3-3 means a lot because we have so much respect for their program, their coaching staff, the way they do things, that we can even the playing field with them, and kind of go back and forth with them in the years to come.
Well, let's talk some stats about this week's game, Coach. I want to start with the defense. Over on the defensive side, defensively, you hold Garner to under 200 total yards. 197, I think, was the final. 165 yards of that was passing, which means your defense held Garner to only 32 yards on the ground. I just thought it was a fantastic defensive showing.
Yeah, really, they fit up well, tackled well. That was a big mantra for us this week, because number 3 for them is such a hard guy to get on the ground. Number 2, the other tailback that played quite a bit as well, is not as well known, but very elusive and has the speed as well. So we were very happy with that ground game, and if you can make a team one-dimensional, it really helps. And then getting up in the score makes them even more one-dimensional.
Yep.
But early taking away the run and forcing them into long situations and passing situations. And they came out with a lot of empty sets and stuff. So their game plan, I think, was to throw the ball a little bit more anyway. But
they seem to find a little. Where I saw they found some room was maybe that little slant across the middle. That kind of thing. That seemed to be working for them. But you seem to you got on that, just cut that down.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, the old mantra is that when you throw the ball, only one good thing can happen, but there's a lot of bad, 2 or 3 bad things. But especially when you keep them that intermediate route and then you tackle well. So then they got to execute that all the way down the field, and that. So they had some drives where they marched it, and the one where they were able to get in the end zone. But that was definitely the mantra. Don't give up the big play in the passing game. Limit the running game and tackle well, and we will be successful. And that's what we did. So executed that part of the game plan very well.
Individually, we've got to talk about a couple of your guys. Led again this week, Jalen Vinson, 10 tackles this week, 2 of those for loss. Also got a sack this week. He led the Rams last week, 17 tackles, was your defensive player of the week. I mean, he's just playing lights out right now.
Yeah, he's a great player. A lot of guys on the defense. It was hard to pick out who was the best over there, because everyone really executed well. Some of the guys are disappointed in their tackling numbers, but when it's incomplete pass, there's no tackle there. So when you get someone to throw the ball 40 times, you're not going to have the stats, if you will. But they were happy with the team performance. So.
Got to mention Sam Dominic too, Coach. 2 interceptions this week. Big game for Sam as well.
Absolutely. Sam is now moving into his 3rd year of starting for us at corner, and kind of following that role of the guard the best receiver, or to the tendency side, that kind of thing, and filled that really well. Took away the side of the field that they wanted to throw the football to, and having that weapon is very valuable in the defense.
Certainly is. Offensively, another big effort this week. We're able to put 43 points on the board. That in itself is a tremendous effort. Statistically, over 500 yards of offense this week, 336 through the air, 196 on the ground. The Rams just went up and down the field, Coach. That's all you can say. I mean, the first half, again, 16-0 at the half. I think both teams were still kind of feeling each other out a little bit. Again, Garner comes back, scores the first possession of the 3rd, but after that, I mean, it's pretty much all Rams.
Yeah, I thought the whole game we moved the ball well offensively. The first half, we had a couple of drives we didn't finish things off. We, we get down there and we get a field goal, which I told Wyatt, during the game that field goal early in the game was huge for us, because it gave us a 2-score margin, and that really put some pressure on Garner, forces them more in those passing situations than they probably would have otherwise. So that was a big score, but obviously when we get that close, we want to get a touchdown. And then right before half, not getting the end zone, those are some things that we could have opened up a bigger margin before halftime. Those are some of the things we talk about, to clean them, clean it up, and to get better. But you can't complain with the end result. So.
Individually, another great effort from your junior quarterback, Darius Ocean, 21 for 32. He's 336 yards, as we said. 4 touchdowns on the night. Only 1 interception. That computes out to a QB rating of 142.2. I mean, it's a broken record here, Coach, for the first few weeks here.
Yeah, I thought he played really well last week. And he was much better this week, and that's saying something. When he had a few less yards and that kind of thing, but
he looked really in control.
He controlled the offense a lot better than he did the week before, and hopefully each week gets better. So we were real pleased with that effort.
On the ground, as the norm over the past couple seasons, senior running back Tyson Dew led all rushers, 170 yards on the ground, 23 carries, 2 more touchdowns to add to his total. Literally, and we'll probably see a couple of plays here coming up, Mr. Dew here, but he just couldn't be stopped Friday night, Coach. I mean, a couple of touchdowns, like I said, 170 yards, but there's a couple of plays, and there's one that I've got to show you, and you've not seen it, I know you've seen it, but I'm dragging tacklers, gets hit at the line of scrimmage, still drags tacklers, breaks breaks tackles, stays on his feet, 15-yard gain after getting hit right at the line, stuff like that. I mean, that's just huge.
Yeah, you know, the run where he puts his hand down.
That, believe it or not, that might be coming up.
Stays up. He's just a special player,
Yeah.
and the way he's running the football this year is making our offensive line even better. So we knew going in that was an area we needed to grow in, and you know, he's reading the blocks, setting up the blockers really well. So everything there is ahead of schedule as far as what we expected, and he's a big part of that.
And see, and you know, I don't want to steal the thunder when we get to the highlight, but again, that was fourth quarter too. The game, you know, we're up pretty big. The game, you know, I mean, he could easily be okay, well, I'm just going to, you know, he's on first quarter through the game, you know, and you having a stud like that in the fourth quarter that does those kind of things. I mean, that's huge. Another big night for your receivers too, Coach. Jon Barnes led all receivers, 9 catches, 146 yards, 3 touchdowns. He's followed by Jawal Williams. He had 5 balls for 93. Corn Artist, 2 catches for 36 and a score. Great night for the guys on the outside there too, Coach. I mean, they did a great job.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, our receiving corps is a special group and a dangerous group, and you know, Garner is known for their athletes and their great defensive back play and well coached back there, but they make good work of that group, and really shows their athleticism when they can do that to a team like Garner.
A couple more things I'd like to get your perspective on before we get to the highlights here, Coach. Again, the score at the half, 16-0 in favor of the Rams. That was you know, obviously shutting them out in the first half was great. But as we talked about, Garner actually, you know, started. They won the toss, deferred, so they got the kickoff in the second half. Drove down the field and scored. Cut the margin to only 1 score. You know, that right there it was huge for them. But what I saw, the Rams, I mean, Rams didn't score on their subsequent possession, but pretty much everyone thereafter. I thought that was a huge effort to come down late, they score, and then you come back and answer, and like I said, pretty much run the game away.
Yeah, that was, you know, we obviously controlled the first half. Our kids were happy. We wanted to finish the game. When we got 16-6, you know, life came back on their sideline and that kind of thing. It makes you worry because you know, you're playing Garner. So the response thereafter was impressive. That I think once it got back to 23-6, everyone kind of relaxed a little bit, and I think the same happened with Garner, and that's why I got at a hand at the end.
The other thing I wanted to bring up was penalties again, Coach. If I'm not mistaken, somewhere in the neighborhood of 250 to 300 yards, somewhere in there, excuse me, combined by both teams. But Garner actually had the majority of the penalties, by the way. Cleveland had over 100 yards themselves. But if someone would have told me that the Rams would have double-digit penalties, over 100 yards in penalties, and still win 43-6, I'd want to sell them some land and some oceanfront property in Wyoming there.
Right. That's obviously one area we got to work on.
Yeah.
You know, some of the things is you know, points of emphasis this year with the referees, and so we got to work on those. After several of those late touchdowns, they came in quick succession.
Yep.
And we're playing Garner, and it's a big game for our kids. So some of it was just being overexcited after the touchdowns. That's something we have to get better at.
Yeah.
But you know, one of them was the player left the coaching box and ran down to the end zone when one of his teammates scored. So you never like any personal fouls, but the ones where they're celebrating with their teammates are a little bit less
I got
selfish than some of the other ones, but
there's
definitely some penalties that we got to get better at. You know, the one long drive they had in the first half was extended by two penalties. One, the roughing the kicker, and then we lined up offsides in like 3rd and 4. So little things like that we got away with, you might not get away with next week or the following week. So that's why you play the games and get better as we go forward. So hopefully we can cut down on those penalties. I think we will. And the kids know their mistakes, and hopefully we'll make it again.
All right, well, as we do each week, Coach, I've queued up some of the plays. I've already mentioned a few of them that I think you can expect to see here. And we'll start out the Rams' first drive, ball on the Garner 35-yard line, and Ocean finds Corn Artist to get the Rams on the board early.
Right, this is one thing that makes us so dangerous. You know, we played one game, they watched that film. Corn, just the way the game played out against Roseville, I think had 1 catch, and then we start the game, we throw him a touchdown right off the gate. So there are 4 dangerous receivers out there at any time, and he's come a long way this year and has looked fantastic in all our warm-ups, and now we get to see it in the game. But a great back shoulder throw and an amazing adjustment to it in the air and catch, and both those guys have a lot of talent.
Next up here, Coach, we're still in the first quarter. Rams with the ball again, quite possibly, I think, maybe the best play of the game. Ocean finds Jon Barnes in the back of the end zone. Barnes with just an absolute circus catch to come down with it for 6.
Absolutely. This is something we worked on all week, and we knew it would be open when we had it there. And it's one of those, you got a wide open 3-pointer, so you almost get too nervous. And he puts it a little too high because he just knew it was a touchdown.
Yep.
John makes a great adjustment to it in the air. Obviously, we want to put a little less air under that, but when you have someone open like that, you kind of just make sure it's an easy completion.
Yep.
So allows him to adjust to it, but does a great job of going up and catching that one.
Just a fantastic catch.
Yep.
All right, big defensive play now, Coach. Moving back over to the defensive side of the ball. Second quarter, Trojans with the ball in the Rams 30. Sam Dominic again with the pick.
Yeah, 1 of 2 picks for Sam. Does a good job of staying back in coverage and going up to make a play on the ball. There, they had a bad snap, and he just turns and chucks it, and we were able to stay with our guy. A lot of times when the ball hits the ground, people look in the backfield and lose sight of it. But they didn't do that, so we were very happy with that. And he ended up with 2 picks, but his hands on 2 other ones, so he was very active on that side of the field.
How much practice do you get in on interception returns and blocking back up field and that kind of thing? Have you been able to work on that kind of thing?
Not really, no.
Yeah.
Darius doesn't throw a lot of interceptions in practice.
That's what I was going to say, doesn't go over. Yeah.
I tell him sometimes, like, just throw us one every once in a while so we can practice that, but he won't do it. So.
All right, we're sticking with the defense again here, Coach, and Travis Waters, number 42, gets the big sack on Nolan McLean here.
Yeah, Travis had a real good game, real active. He had this play right here where he was able to get a good pass rush, dip the shoulder, and get him on the ground. Has another big hit on a trap play early in the game that he really kind of set a tone earlier how we were going to play run up front early, and we're real happy with his performance. Very active player, got a motor on him.
He does have a motor. That's a great way to describe that young man. All right, third quarter now, Coach, and it's Tyson due time. 3rd and 5 on the Trojan 39. Tyson goes right up the middle, and what appeared to me, I don't think he was even touched. I mean, he might have been maybe by a finger, but he gets through the line and he's gone.
Yeah. No, I don't think he was. Obviously, Tyson's speed is evident there, but great blocking up front.
Absolutely.
So these
I
guys,
could run through that one, I think. I might have. I don't know. Maybe not. But
the guys don't get enough credit for their performance on Friday night. They really played well for something that a lot of people said that was going to be the reason we weren't going to be good this year. That certainly was not the case on Friday night. They were very good up front, and that's not a bad defensive front that they're playing against. Garner played really well against Clayton up front and did well against the run against them. So a lot to be said about the blocking right there.
One thing that stuck out to me here too, Coach, again, Carrington's the one that almost gets Tyson at the end, and I think he was held up just enough on the little fake here from Ocean that gives Tyson that little extra, and that was game saving, or not game saving, touchdown. It could have been a touchdown.
Saving tackle.
Absolutely,
yeah.
Yep.
No, they. One thing about the spread, it makes you respect all aspects of their offense, and when you can throw it and run it, it's very difficult to stop either one.
Yep.
Which is why defensively you want to take one aspect of a team away, which we talked about that before with the run game.
All right, we move to the fourth now, Coach. I had to pull this clip up. We've already talked about it a little bit. They say it's the fourth quarters when you make your money, and this play right here shows everything that Tyson do is about. Like I said, gets hit at the line of scrimmage, keeps his feet, breaks tackles, carries defenders for a gain of 15. It's just amazing.
It's a really great illustration of his talent, his balance. There's another one where he's coming the other direction that he puts his hand down and breaks more tackles. So great sense of balance, and he's never going to just concede a tackle. You're gonna earn it when you get him on the ground. An amazing run right there. And again, another good blocking as well.
Yep. All right, we're still in the fourth here, late. Jon Barnes' second touchdown of the night.
Simple, man coverage, hard to guard out in man coverage. Several of their completions were the same way with us. Not bad coverage there, but a good throw puts it where only Jon can get it.
Yep.
And Jon makes a great catch, runs a great route, and is able to get in the end zone.
Well, Jon's surely not done. And last but certainly not least, gets his third touchdown of the night, 80-yard romp on a little across the middle here.
Yep. Obviously, great route, good throw, and then he shows his wheels while he's
puts on the burners.
Yep. And Huddle does a thing where they show like the longest runs, the longest passes, and this was the longest run or the longest pass play in the nation on Friday night that at least was charted in Huddle. So not everybody charts and all that. So I'm sure someone will call it me. We had an 81-yard touchdown, but according to Huddle, it was the longest one in Huddle. So,
awesome.
Big explosive play, and that was nice. And one of our personal fouls came from celebration there, but that's something we'll clean up.
All right, Coach. Next up, our weekly player awards. Can't wait to hear who you got for us.
Offensive player, we ended with Jon Barnes. Obviously, a lot worthy of that. Tyson's performance is every week worthy of an award, and we'll spread it around. Obviously, as we talked about before, Darius played better than he did the week before, and he was the offensive player of the week last week. So a lot of people worthy. The whole offensive line could have got it. But, we went with Jon Barnes having 9 catches, 146 yards, and 3 touchdowns.
3 scores,
That is a big night for him. So he's our offensive player of the week.
Awesome.
And then defensive player of the week goes to Sam Dominic. You get 3 turnovers, you're probably going to win that award. So he got his hands. Well, he got his hands on 4 interceptions.
I was going to say, it was a couple. Yeah, absolutely.
Able to secure 2 of them.
Yep.
And then late in the game, he was the one that able to fall on the fumble on when they muffed the kick. So being in the right place at the right time, and a lot of that is by design and good play by him. So very, very happy with his performance and several other people on defense. You hold Garner to 6 points.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people. There's more than one person
effort.
playing well.
Exactly.
On that side of the ball, Trench's player of the week, so it goes to O or D lineman that played the best. And you showed his sack in there. He had another real big hit on a trap where he slanted in there and kind of walloped the fullback there and got on his ground. So Travis Waters, our Trench player of the week, he graded out very
running
well.
Waters.
Yep. And our scout team player of the week goes to Tyson.
Okay, awesome.
So we have our ones scout, and he did a great job. One thing that number 3 did really well against Clayton is he would reverse fields and get back the other way and score. I think 2 of his 3 touchdowns against Clayton came that way. And Tyson did that several times in practice. Part of that's how Tyson runs as well.
I was going to say, that's not.
But at the same time, he took the time to watch a little bit of film of Gardner's offense, knowing that it wouldn't benefit him personally, but it'd benefit the team if he could run the same way they ran. And he did that to us several times. And early in the week, he scored several times doing that.
Okay.
And it really taught our outside backers, hey, you got to stay at home. You got to play your assignment. And, it really helps out our defense when we get a really good test through the week, and it makes Friday nights a little bit easier. So we talked about that a lot, and hopefully we can get more guys to bring that same effort to the scout team.
That's huge. That's huge.
And then the John Jacobs Award this week goes to Garrett Paris.
Okay.
One thing we talked about after the game, so we give that award out in front of everybody after the game. And, we always talk about an attribute that Coach Jacobs had. And one thing, he did a lot of stuff behind the scenes that no one noticed. He did our laundry.
And nobody was able to touch that laundry now. You got to stay out of the way.
He would paint our practice field. Stuff that no one notices unless it's not done.
Unless it's not there.
Unless it's not there.
Exactly.
It's not done.
Yeah.
And then when it was time to step up, he was always there to step up for it. And, I'd come back from the beach during the summer. I'd come back from the beach a lot, and we'd have practice on Monday, so I'd stop here on the way back and go to paint the field and already be painted. Things like that. And Friday night, Quez Durham's our starter at strong safety, and he had a little nagging injury, and he aggravated it worse in warm-ups. So 10 minutes before the game, he's not going to start. And Garrett was able to step up without as many reps, as a starter would typically get in the week. And he played unbelievable. I think he had 4 or 5 tackles, some big hits, and I think 4 or 5 pass breakups. They really went at him early in the game, and he was able to hold his own.
And he held it,
So you don't notice Garrett until you really needed him, and he was there and stepped up and played a great way. So he's the John Jacobs program player of the week.
That's awesome.
This week.
Cool. Well, Coach, I actually had the opportunity to speak to Mr. Barnes this week, so I want the Ram fam to take a look at that. We'll be back right after this. Hey Ram fam, this is Jeff Garner, voice of the Rams. I am here with Jon Barnes, senior wide receiver with the Rams. Again, John, thanks for being here, buddy.
No problem.
I don't know if you've heard or not, but you are the offensive player of the week this week. Coach Riley has selected you as offensive player. Again, great honor, as always. Great game this week. We're going to talk about that a little in just a minute. But first, I just want to ask you, 2-0 this season. How you feeling? How you feeling after 2-0?
It feels great. Everybody's working hard. Yeah, it feels great.
How about now, like I said, this year I've already talked to a couple of the other players or whatever, a couple of the other receivers and all, and what's special this year is the whole receiving core is back from a year ago. So how does it feel being, starting the year off with the same guys, that kind of thing, as compared to new guys coming in and out?
I like that a little bit better because it's more experience.
Yeah.
Everybody knows the plays, so it's faster pace.
Right, and then you get more reps in, that kind of thing. Absolutely. Well, hey, Garner game this week, huge win, 43-6, my man. 43-6. Okay, and again, offensive player of the week, 9 catches, 146 yards, 3 scores. You were on fire the other night, brother. How was it?
It was good. Felt good.
Yeah. Like I said, I want to get to the first touchdown last. Okay, we're going to talk about that one last. All right. Second one, little out route here in the end zone or whatever. Great throw, great catch. That second one. How'd that second one feel?
Felt great. We knew it was man coverage, so I just had to do it to the pylon basically.
And then, obviously the big one at the end of the game. Did you know that 80-yard touchdown? That was the longest offensive pass and catch. But Huddle that does the Huddle.
Yes, I got
all that. You got told that today. Longest in the country, man. So 80 yards. When did you know you were taking it to the house?
Right when I got past the corner, I knew it was over.
You put on those Jets, man, and it was all she wrote, wasn't it?
Yes, sir.
All right, now the first one, probably one of the best catches I think I've ever seen. Back of the end zone, it was a good throw, where it needed to be. Only you were going to get it or whatever.
Yes,
but circus catch, my man, up and was able to get the foot down. How'd you do it?
I don't know. It's like I felt like
Did you know that you were that far in the back and you knew you had to get down? Or?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
So hey, this is mine, right?
Yes, sir.
and what DB say anything to you?
Said good catch. He said good catch.
A good catch. Yeah. That's not even close. All right, fans. Well, again, Jon Barnes, senior wide receiver here with the Rams. Just a great game this week. Again, offensive player of the week, 9 catches, 146 yards, 3 touchdowns. Got a big one coming up this week now. Again, they're all big. Everything's big. Going to Terry Sanford. We're 0-3. I think 0-3 against these guys. We got to get a W. What we got to do to get this W this week?
You got to play hard, come out physical, and execute.
Be ready to play.
Yes, sir.
All right. Well, cool. Hey, Ram fam, thanks for tuning in again. Jon Barnes, congratulations, my man. I'm sure me and you are going to be here a whole lot more. So, congratulations, and we'll catch you next time. Okay, Coach, we're back. Let's talk about the Rams' upcoming game this week. The Rams are back on the road once again. This time we're heading down to Fayetteville, take on the Bulldogs of Terry Sanford in week 3 here now. The Rams have played the Bulldogs each of the last 3 seasons, losing all 3. The Rams fell 34-27 at home to the Bulldogs in 15, 48-25 at Terry Sanford in 16, and then last season 49-28. So 0-3 against this team. The Bulldogs come into this one with a 1-1 record. They lost at home to Fuquay in week 1. Then they defeated Jack Britt this past week on the road, 29-15. What do we need to do this week, Coach, to get us the W on this team?
We got to play better. I think, no disservice that we've played 2 very good teams, but I do believe watching the film that Terry Sanford's the best team we've played so far, and we got to play really well, effectively on
Sound.
sound on offense and defense. They're very well coached, and they're a very similar team over the last few years. That they've obviously it's not the same players we played, but they go from one really big, athletic left-handed quarterback to another big one, fast, athletic left-handed quarterback. So they got their program rolling. So they'll be a great test for us.
The good news is, like you said, the Rams don't necessarily have to worry about the Jane to Jane connection. That's who kind of you were referring to earlier. The twins, quarterback and receiver. Those guys have since graduated. But through 2 games, the Bulldogs still averaging right about 400 yards a game, 144 through the air, whopping 251 on the ground, and they're led by junior running back Dorian Clark. Clark has he's got 271 yards rushing, 4 touchdowns through 2 games, Coach. So I know you're going to have some focus on that young man.
Yeah, he's a strong physical back. Feels like he's been there forever.
I know. When I looked at it, I was going to say I thought it was wrung because I thought
I think his first start as a freshman was against us, 3 years ago. So it is our 3rd year that we've had to play him. He's I think he's actually gotten slimmed down a little bit. But he's always been a big physical back, and he looks to be the same this year and a little bit faster than he's been. So a very, very dangerous guy, and he's got 2 more seasons to go. So a lot of talent there.
Defensively, Bulldogs leading tackler, junior number 23, Christian Deaver. Deaver plays both the linebacker position and some D-line sometimes. 26 tackles through 2 games. Another couple of defensive players I'm sure has caught your eye this week, Coach. Junior D-lineman number 9, Elijah Morris. 14 tackles, 3 of those for losses. And then the senior defensive back, Bolding, 2 picks thus far on the season. So the defense is strong as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Each of those guys, it seems like we've been playing for a long time too. They all have been up. I think 23's been up since he was a freshman as well. So, a good junior class they have there, and a lot of talent. Like I said, they're always going to be really good and well coached. So
it's just a fine program. They have.
If you don't play well, you don't coach well, they're going to get you. So. It kind of gives us that playoff feel. We've played, 2 playoff caliber teams, and it keeps getting harder. And so I keep telling them, you win 4 in a row of these type of teams. At the end of the season, we're in the state championship game. So we're just trying to get that consistency, which we've been lacking the last couple of years. We'd have a big game, get up too high, and then not play well the next week. So we got to put it together if we want to be great at the end of the season. We got to learn to get over a win and move on to the next week, 1 week at a time. We preach that mantra, but it's easier said than done.
Yeah, it really is.
That's what we're looking to do this week.
All right, well, Ram fam, there you have it. It's the 2-0 Cleveland Rams heading to the 1-1 Terry Sanford this Friday night, kickoff 7:30. I think that's right, 7:30 kickoff, Coach.
Yes, sir.
We hope you've made plans to come out and support the Rams. We'll certainly be there covering every play as we always do. We'll be back here with the coach next week for highlights and stats and all the above as we always do. Thanks again for your time this week. I know we're back in school. I meant to ask you a little bit about that, but I know you like that rhythm and consistency there. So I know we're back. I know you're busy, but final comments for us.
No, excited to be back in school. It's good to know where the kids are, not to go pick them up and all that kind of stuff for practice. Have them in weightlifting during the day, not to worry about that before or after practice. So all those things are good. We're excited to getting into week 3, and hopefully you guys can. Also, we have the JV game at home, so come out and see that. And I know the game will be streamed a couple different ways, but we'd really love it if you'd come down and watch in person down there in Fayetteville to cheer us on. We always play better with the more
That's a great point.
we got.
Absolutely great point, Coach. Again, and we do stream our games, but again, it's an enhancement. It's not a replacement. I always like to say that. There's nothing that replaces having warm bodies, loud Rams, a Ram fam in the stand. So we hope that again you will be there Friday night, 7:30 kickoff, and as Coach said, again, home game, JV game against Terry Sanford. That's Thursday night. That's right here at Rams Field. So we'll hope you'll be at both games. Again, we need you there. Again, good luck, Coach. Let's bring home the W. So for Coach Scott Riley, my name is Jeff Garner. Again, as always, until next week, go Rams.
Cool.